Well, hey friends, it's been a little bit. We had a great spring break trip over March that I'll fill you in a little more on, and you can read more about below. But I just wanted to pause for a minute. It kind of hit me this morning as I've been so exhausted since our trip and trying to recoup and really just felt like I'm just mulling around, and just this morning hit me just as I was reading through the book of Colossians in chapter 3, and Paul began to speak about this, and it says, and I'll pull it open here, it says, since then you've been raised with Christ, set your hearts on things above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things, for you died, and your life is now hidden with Christ in God. And as I was kind of putting together a few things, I know a friend of mine a long time ago said it's crazy when you look around, and it's obviously turning spring here, which is crazy. But it seems like everything tends to grow, which I love this time of year. Each season I look forward to, and this is no exception. Our plants, they start to bring on life, and little buds start to grow out of them. And it's crazy. Things just start to grow up as if they are reaching toward the heavens. Yesterday I was on a hike, and I got to a point where I just realized I was staring at the heels of the people in front of me. We were up with our staff just taking a little hike for the day to pray over the valley, and I got to a point of just looking up finally, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous where we're at. And as I looked up, there were probably 15 or 20 sheep just above us. Not the lamb type sheep, but like the rams with the curls on their head and stuff like that. And it was just so cool, and just all of this kind of coming together just reminded me again, it's almost crazy how I live my life so much just out of this earthly perspective, where I continue to look down, and yet God goes, you kidding me? Look up. Look at the stars. Take in what I am doing. It's been so foolish that I live almost out of my lenses, and I only get to see from my perspective so often. But when I live from His perspective and what He sees and how He calls us to live, man, it's like a breath of life again in me, and it's this encouragement of, that's right, I don't have to force this life the way I'm supposed to live it, but it's through His lens. And He goes, I'll take that burden with you. I want to walk alongside you. I want to care for you, and I want you to see how I care for people. And it begins to make it so much, for me, so much lighter, so much easier to go, oh, that's right. Like, it's not all on my shoulders anymore. I get to enjoy living from His perspective. And just as I encourage you with that, we were on the spring break trip 3 weeks ago now. Took kids down to California for really a surf and serve trip. We did basically invested in these kids' lives and made some incredible memories. But throughout the trip, it was constantly encouraging them to continue to look up and to see from God's perspective, that they'd understand how He cares for their circumstances. No matter how hard or good or wherever they're at, that He longs to be near in those. We were surfing one day. We were teaching them how to surf. We had a fun day at a beach, and it was a little bigger than a normal day. I mean, it was anywhere from 2 to 5 feet, and two of these high school friends, they'd never touched an ocean. And so 5-foot wave that's moving at you while you're on a soft foam board but have no clue what you're doing is terrifying. And the analogy came to me again of just this crazy reality that sometimes God seems very unapproachable. He seems scary and far off, especially when I almost live with my head down in the dirt, if that makes sense, just staring around at the world around me and living through my lens. It's like the ocean in so many ways for a lot of people who don't go in it a lot. It's scary and terrifying, especially when the waves start to get high, but it's crazy when you begin to jump into it and get used to it and familiar with it, that you still fear it and you still have a respect for it, but you begin to enjoy it and be part of it. It's that way with God. The more that I get to be near Him, even though there are moments where I feel shame or guilt, or I feel, man, I just haven't been near you in a while, and I draw near and I find out that, man, there's so much joy in life to be found there. And so just as I sit on that, would you be encouraged also to dive in? He longs for us to look up. He longs for us to take in and to see from His perspective, that we would live from His perspective today and not just ours. If I'm honest, I'm chasing after emptiness or just the wind in general, things that aren't going to bring about life. It's going to actually exhaust me, and there's more to do tomorrow. My list will grow. As you can see around here, I mean, I've got plenty to do. But the point is, when I live from his perspective, man, it's much more clear. People are important. Loving people are really important. Caring for others, but because he does, and not just because I'm forced to. And I get excited about doing that. So thanks for supporting us. Thank you for praying for us. We're excited. One of our best trips by far was our spring break trip, and you'll hear more about that in the notes. But just want to let you know, these kids are still meeting up 3 weeks later now, and these kids are still hanging out on a daily, sometimes weekly basis. Just can't get enough of this deeper community they are a part of. Thank you for allowing that. We're very grateful for who you are, and continue to pray as we move forward with this. Thank you so much.